Hey everybody, it's David Sirota. So by now I'm sure you're following the net neutrality fight. Net neutrality are those rules passed by the Federal Communications Commission designed to make sure that internet companies can't speed up or slow down certain content that you're getting on your web browser based on whether they like the content or don't like the content, or whether the content provider is paying them extra money or not. The idea is to keep the internet neutral in terms of content, that it can't preference certain content over other content. And everyone from civil liberties advocates to political groups across the political spectrum have raised concerns that without net neutrality rules, internet companies, the internet service providers, could speed up or slow down, effectively suppress or preference content that they like or don't like. So there's a huge censorship and First Amendment and free speech kind of situation going on here. So you've heard a lot about what's gone on at the FCC. It's expected to vote very soon on an attempt by President Trump's FCC chairman to repeal net neutrality rules. Now here's something you may not have heard, which is that the FCC has basically been arguing that if it gets rid of its own rules, the Federal Trade Commission can still enforce some rules to make sure that the internet operates properly. That's been the ostensible argument from Trump's FCC. But here's what you probably haven't heard, that at the same time that the FCC is moving to potentially repeal those net neutrality rules, there is an obscure case in court right now being led by AT&T, which could essentially invalidate the Federal Trade Commission's ability to enforce basic consumer protection laws on the internet. So if you put it together, you've got the FCC saying, hey, we're going to get rid of our net neutrality rules, and don't worry, consumers, because the FTC will take over some of the basic regulations. Yet at the same time, you've got a court case in federal court that could then simultaneously eliminate the ability of the FTC to enforce those consumer protection rules, essentially taken together, leaving the internet without some of these most basic net neutrality rules that have allowed the internet to flourish and become what it is today. So you could have a completely deregulated, with no regulations allowed in terms of preferencing and not preferencing content. It would prevent even state officials from regulating this to make sure that there's that equal flow, that level playing field for all content. Now I know you may step back and you say, well, I don't understand why is this important? Well, it's important because without any of these rules, the major telecom giants, again, they can basically say, if you're putting out a website that's politically inconvenient to them, it's surfacing facts that they don't want out there, they can effectively slow the speeds to your website for users. So a user could punch up your website, want to read all about this, but they can't get to it because the speed is so slow. It's essentially a kind of sort of a form of censorship. I mean, maybe they don't fully prevent you from getting it, but they make it so slow as to be impossible. Or they say to you, listen, we don't care about the political content of your content, but you got to pay up for us to basically serve that information from your website to users at the regular speed that everybody's used to. So without these rules, you could get a situation where you've got the internet telecom giants either trying to charge you huge fees if you want to have a regular website, or saying, look, we don't like the political content of your website, and we're just going to slow it down so as to make it nearly impossible to get to. And so you've got the FCC working to potentially deregulate the existing rules, saying that the FTC will take it over, but now you got a court case which may say that the FTC is not allowed to do anything. Keep your eye on both the FCC net neutrality vote, but also on this court case, this AT&T court case. It's a huge one.